What is going on, Brew Crew?
Special Sunday.
It is a special Sunday because we are joined, and I want to make sure I get it right this time, that Ethanol Guy Brewhouse with Alex Sexton and Dan Sexton, who are the micro-brewers, and they have brought a very special beer for us straight out of Granger, Indiana. So, gentlemen, welcome. We very much appreciate your time and being able to get a little information out there about the beers that you guys are brewing.
Yep.
So, anything you want to tell the audience before we get into all the questions and everything about that Ethanol Guy Brewhouse?
Yeah, it's just a brew in my garage kind of thing. Have my dad over and have him assist in the brews, and we're just trying to clone some good beers, see if we can get some good tasting stuff out. Either way, it's going to be beer.
Right.
It'll be drank. So
very nice.
We like beer here.
We do like beer. Good beer, bad beer. We drink all beer. So,
that's right.
Yeah. All right, so we have some questions for you guys specifically about your brews. We do want to do the 5 questions with a brewer, but I have some others that I want to kind of lead us into those a little bit. How long have you guys been brewing?
Well, my wife got me just a 1-gallon starter kit in Christmas 2016, and it was extract brewing. It was really simple stuff. Basically, boil water on the stove and then put it into a fermenter and toss some yeast in, and that very quickly turned into the desire, the requirement, the urge deep down inside. I got to do more with this. My scientific mind, being a chemist, I had to get more into it. How do I get those grains and extract the sugars for myself and really get into it? So I started building quickly off of that and started all grain brewing. It was Father's Day. Last year was our first all grain batch, so just been growing nonstop ever since that.
Very proud fathers.
Yes. So is that what got you into brewing? Just that little kit?
Just that little kit.
Okay.
Just enough to make my mind munch on it, and it's like, I got to do more than this. Just give it to me. Give it all to me.
So I'm friends with your wife's cousin, and he talked you up. That's how I heard about you first. And then we met at Brewfest. You haven't been doing it all that long, but have you made a bad batch yet?
I would say not. Well, there might have been an extract batch which didn't really jive with my taste buds. It might have been good to other people, just wasn't what I really prefer. But no, I've been pretty proud of all the beer that I've been able to make so far.
Cool.
Okay. Well, then what are the different styles? And obviously it hasn't been that long, but it's all right. How long, what kind of styles have you actually brewed?
I've made, the kit that I got came with an IPA kit, so that was the first one that turned out pretty well. I made a dry Irish stout. I made an Irish red. Those were all from the kits, malt extract brewing. And then once I got into all grain, the first one was an oatmeal stout. And this was the second one, the Dragons Milk clone, officially called Evan's Second Chance.
I lobbied for MBR stout, but he didn't want to go with it.
No, I promised you if you gave this one a 10, that's what I would rename it to.
We'll just have to see.
Yeah. And most recently, last weekend, I had a buddy over, and we got a Bell's Two-Hearted Ale clone going, an IPA there.
Nice.
So I think that's just finishing up in the fermenter and going to transfer it over and give it some extra hops, and hopefully in another month or so we'll be ready to drink that.
Okay. So you dry hopping it?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Very cool. Very cool. So if we could put everything to the side, being money, production, anything, time, if we could put all that aside, what would be the perfect craft coming from you?
I hate to sound boring or anything, but this is pretty close to, if I could brew this 100 times, I would probably just do this over and over again, really perfect it and dial it in.
All right, so this is going to be, what we're going to try today is going to be your kind of feature beer. This is what you want it to be.
I think so.
Wow.
We hope we haven't hyped it up too much.
Question number 1 in our 5 questions for a brewer, and both of you please feel free to answer. Your answers may be different, all right? So there's nothing wrong with that. What's your favorite beer that you don't brew?
That's kind of a tough one. I really I'm rather impartial. If it's a good stout, maybe an oatmeal stout or a breakfast stout, I'm gonna be game no matter what kind of brand it is.
Okay.
All right, that's one of our favorites.
Yeah, for sure.
And I feel the same way. I'm new to the craft beer world. I mean, 10 years ago it was Bud Select all the way, but I've evolved quite a bit since then. So I'm still out there tasting what's out there. So.
All right. That brought up so many more questions for me, just you saying that. But we're going to stick with our 5 questions for this live segment here.
Okay.
So, question number 2. What's the first beer you guys crafted?
Well, my first all-grain batch was an oatmeal stout. That wasn't technically crafting. I got that as a kit online, and but I would say this beer right here that we're gonna look into here is the first one we've actually crafted and put together.
Okay.
Wow, okay.
So this is your original production.
Yeah.
But you did a kit, and I count kit because for one, the brewers we talked to at Brewfest, they counted kits.
Yeah.
So I mean, you still got to do the work.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And still got to come out right.
Same answer for you, Dan?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
We've kind of been doing this together, so it's been great so far.
Yep. So, question number 3 is, how does your beer connect to our local community?
Well, in buying the ingredients, I looked around. I really didn't want to, buy offline all my ingredients and stuff. So I did some research and found a homebrew supply store in Elkhart, which unfortunately closed its doors. But I was a real fan of buying local, making sure that I'm getting the freshest stuff, and so that was kind of my contribution to supporting the local guy.
Cool.
Okay. So this is obviously one of the beers you're making now, right? Okay. Can you describe it for us?
Yeah, it's a bourbon barrel imperial stout. Measured it out about 9.5%. It's got a medium to thick mouthfeel. I think the bourbon is kind of prevalent in the taste. You do get a little bit of chocolate, not as much as the Dragons Milk, which is what we tried to clone it off of.
Okay.
Is kind of how we were crafting it. Dragon's Milk was much more heavy on the chocolate, so this one's a little bit milder than that, but overall, really good flavor, really drinkable, just like to nice and slow sip it over 15-20 minutes. Nice and relaxing
Nice.
beer.
So Dragon Milk he's talking about is from New Holland Brewing Company in Holland, Michigan, and I mean, when you're getting into craft beers, if you're looking for a good bourbon barrel stout to get you started off, that's a great one to go to because its flavor is outstanding. And he sent me a text saying it's better than it. So that got me very excited. So because that is a good one for sure.
Yeah.
So we're joined here live right now. There's a couple people watching us on Facebook live. This video will obviously upload. What else, before we ask our last question, what else do you guys feel like the community, the beer community, should know about Alex and Dan and the brewing that you guys do?
We're just a couple of guys that really enjoy drinking beer, and I'm a chemist as my profession, and this is just kind of one of those things that I've been keeping an eye on for a while, and I'd really like to get into this, and it's just a scientific process for me, and really gets my mind working. So definitely a lot to think about for me.
Yeah, and it shows in the label. I'm gonna show off the label just a little bit here real quick.
Sounds good.
So there's the label. Oh, the light's killing it a little bit, but I've been posting it today a couple times so you guys can see it. That's the brew that we're gonna try here in a few minutes. And so, question number 5, Thad, you know it. You want to ask?
Well, can we try this beer?
Well, yeah, I guess we can do that.
All right, time to taste it. So he brought the beer. Here it is.
Yeah, we got one here.
He brought one for all of us. Good man, good man. So it's time to crack it. And I'll just pass this down. And since we're all kind of far away, since we're all crammed into my beer cave here, I'm going to step up here and show you guys what it looks like.
Thank you.
All right, so here's what we got.
Ooh.
Nice dark body. I'd call that a light tan head. And before, ooh. Alex, that smells good, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So before we take a drink, I'd like you to tell us what we're gonna drink, because another thing that Thad and I and a lot of our MBR brew crew are big on is when you say it's there, we want to taste it. And there's not enough written on that label right now for me to know exactly what I'm getting into. So tell us a little bit about this.
Yeah, it's a bourbon barrel aged, not actually bourbon barrel aged, but I used oak wood chips, and I soaked them in some bourbon, actually Evan Williams, which was where we got the Evans Second Chance.
Okay.
Okay.
So the bourbon is going to definitely be there. You're going to get some chocolate, not a whole lot of chocolate. I don't really think you'll get a whole lot of coffee in there for being a stout like this, but definitely the bourbon and the chocolate will be there.
Okay.
All right.
All right. So the nose of it right away hits me with a nice chocolate smell. So
I get a hint of bourbon. I do get some of those malts.
yeah. So you say the yeast is important to this drink, right?
Yeah, I prefer to leave it behind. I feel like it does contribute some to the flavor, and I like the taste of the beer without the yeast.
Okay.
Without, personally.
Okay. So you leave just a touch in there?
Yep.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
didn't, so that'll be interesting.
Oh, I did. I got a little hair in there, so.
So
Like you heard, I don't mind chewing on a beer either. I don't mind unfiltered.
yeah, nope.
So
we've
I
said that many
may
times.
try half of this and then give it a little shot of the yeast at the bottom. So
I think it's time to try it, gentlemen.
Yeah,
so,
I think so.
cheers.
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 Cheers, brew crew. Woo. I gotta go again a second.
Yeah.
That's good, Alex. That is
I
really
appreciate
good.
that.
Seems like it's getting better with age too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So how long have these been brewed?
Brew Day was on October 14th. It went 2 weeks in primary and then 4 weeks in secondary. So altogether 6 weeks conditioning in a fermenter. And then I let it age in the bottle until right around Christmas time. So aging in the bottle, it's probably been since what was that, right after Thanksgiving we bottled it up?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so around Thanksgiving.
Okay.
About a month.
That's cool.
That is
That's
cool.
Yeah. Very awesome. So, in a little bit, he also brought some Dragon's Milk so we can compare it, since you said this started as a clone of that.
Yep.
And we'll do that for you guys here in just a minute. But I want to talk about this one for just a couple minutes first. So first thing it hits me is the chocolate.
Yeah.
So right up front, a very nice chocolate malts, and that runs to the back. Then it's like fireworks in the back of the bourbon. Is that how it's meant to be drank? Is that
yeah, it worked out really well. I like I said, it was my first attempt at crafting, so whatever
I don't think
came
anything
to
was
be.
meant to be.
So, and since I did pour all mine in, I do have a little bit of the yeast is where I get the aftertaste. So it's more in the aftertaste that it's all that stout and chocolate and bourbon before that. So
Yeah.
this is excellent, man.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And I'm liking it.
Appreciate
And
it.
since I didn't do the yeast at first, I just did pour the rest of it in because I do want to try it that way. But you're right. I get a little bit of chocolate, that great bourbon flavor right at the back. And what I like about it is some of these bourbon barrels, it's too boozy.
Yeah.
You know, if I want to drink a bourbon, I'm going to drink a bourbon. And I'm a bourbon lover. But that's a great, nice, it's nice and warm, great bourbon flavor. You get some of that oak, and then, yeah, it just kind of comes back through the tongue. It's nice, complex flavor, so I'm loving it.
I don't know if I mentioned it. It came out to about 9.5%.
9.5%.
So it's a little warm.
I would have not guessed that. That'll sneak up on you. So 2 of those bottles that have me pretty happy. All right.
For sure.
Well, that is excellent. So I'm so glad you shared with us.
Ooh. See, I like it better with the yeast.
It's so good with the yeast. So
It is.
It gives it a little bit more at the end.
I think I
Just
like
a touch.
it better with the yeast too.
yeah.
Well, let's see again here.
So the brewer's wrong is what we're getting at.
We just have a different palate.
Right.
Yeah, it's all
And he's
about-
wrong too, but it doesn't matter.
Right.
And as long as he's brewing beer like this, who cares if he's wrong?
Absolutely. Yeah. Keep being wrong, Alex.
Cheers to that.
Yeah. Cheers to that. All right. So I think it's time to mix in a little comparison.
Yes.
What do you say?
Yeah, before I drink this all, I just realized I
Right.
forgot about that.
Yeah. All right, it's time to try the two together.
Yep.
So, Alex, thank you for bringing some Dragon's Milk as well, because
As we always appreciate here, I'll
he
slide that
texted
to
me
you.
and said, "Is it too much beer if I bring some Dragon's Milk?" And I was like, "No." All right. So I'm going to try and compare how they look together a little bit. Has a slightly darker head to it than yours did. The bodies look really similar. Look very, very similar. So
Got those next to each other. You're right. Yeah, they're both opaque. I get a tiny bit of light at the bottom, but it might be the glass, just because we're in a...
front lit room.
And, well, the bowl
Yeah.
spreads that out a little bit more.
Yeah. So in what with the Dragon's Milk, the first thing I'm greeted by is bourbon.
I get the sweet.
You get sweet. Yeah. I think that's the sweetness of the bourbon, right?
Sweet,
Yeah.
Sweet of that oak. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna give this a little nip.
All right.
All right.
That's what I remember.
Yeah. So boozy all along the sides of my tongue.
Definitely more bourbon.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Definitely more bourbon.
And I forgot. Why do you guys talk about that?
So I think I'm leaning towards what Alex has said already. So he's a bourbon guy. I'm not a bourbon guy, even though I love bourbon barrel beers. I prefer that to not dominate the drink. So I'm gonna clean this out. I'm gonna go back to yours. So
You got to remember too. This is 11 too, so it's going to be
11 ABV. We have a whole lot of ABVs going on in these two beers.
I almost lost my water. Thank you. All right.
So here's what I think. I feel like yours is definitely easier drinking. The mouthfeel feels the same, but I could enjoy yours with more things than I could enjoy Dragon's Milk with. So I'm with you. If I was to give them comparison scores, you win.
Nice.
And
like
I'm
to hear
absolutely the same way. Like we just talked about. The bourbon in this is a little too heavy for me. If I want to drink bourbon, I'm going to pour myself a nice glass of Knob Creek and over a nice cube and sit down. I do enjoy the Dragon's Milk. And he's right. It's easier drinking. I'd rather sit down and drink 2 of these than just 1 of these. Because I'm going to be able to enjoy it through a whole meal. So.
Yep.
Nice.
Excellent beer, man.
It is.
So
Kudos. Great job. Both of you.
I was just the assistant.
Hey,
It's
I'm just the assistant. See, this is why it works. We both got green on. I'm the assistant too. So.
but you birthed this.
That's right.
So
It's always a father's
you
dream
were the
to have a son
brewer.
that makes beer.
and good beer. So
Absolutely.
Well,
So-
see, we're just friends, but he's the one that brought me on. So there we go. So you bird 10, he brought me on. Here we are, drinking beer, having a good time.
Yep. Drink beer, have
it's
fun.
karma.
That's what it's all about. So, absolutely excellent. I mean, I don't mean to downplay Dragon's Milk either. It's a
Oh no, it's
a
an
great
excellent beer.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
not remembering my score. I had every intentions of going back and watching our review of that to see where I scored, but I know it was in the 8s. So that puts you, at least to me, and this is the first brewer I'm ever going to sit next to and say, I got you at an 8.7.
Nice.
Yeah.
Solid score.
And see, I'm an 8.9.
Yeah.
I mean, you touched my heart with the bourbon.
It's just the right amount. It's just the right amount.
It is.
So to allow you to enjoy all the rest of those great parts of the beer, which include the yeast.
Yeah.
For sure. So
Actually, yours scares me a little bit more, too, because this one I know I can only have one.
yes.
That
Yes.
one, I might get in my third and be like, ooh.
Yeah. That's when you
I'm gonna
walk
Uber.
away and you're like, were those Frankenstein footsteps? Like heavy feet. Your feet become extremely heavy at that point. So
He only limits me to a 4-pack at a time. So.
Hey,
a 4-pack is impressive, sir. A 4-pack is impressive. So remember, drink responsibly, kids. So
That's right.
Absolutely.
we absolutely do it. We drink beer, have fun, but make sure you do it right. So again, I just want to thank you guys so much for taking time out of a Sunday to come sit down with us and to sample your beer, because it is absolutely amazing. And hopefully this won't be the end of our relationship. Maybe when you get some of those others whipped out. I mean, the IPA is just starting to touch our palates. Like, we weren't IPA guys when this started. Yeah. Now we're starting to enjoy some of them, and you're brewing one up. I'm gonna want to taste that probably. So
absolutely.
I'll have one on the schedule for you in 5 or 6 weeks from
all right.
now.
Okay.
Gets a little warmer out. Maybe we need to head over to the brewery.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
We got the fire pit and the smoker out back at the Schmidt House.
Yeah.
Beer club or beer for cave. So just
got lots of options.
So sounds good.
Well, thank you again very much. This is Dan and Alex Sexton, and they are the brewers of That Ethanol Guy Brewhouse from Granger, Indiana. Did I say it wrong again? No, I said it right.
Sounds good.
So, all right. Thank you very much, guys. And
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
make sure you join us on YouTube. If you like this video, make sure you tell us so.
Yes. Hit the like.
Hit the like. Don't forget to subscribe to us right here on YouTube and join us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Thanks, everybody.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you for watching today's video. Don't forget to subscribe to us here on YouTube. Also, please remember to always drink responsibly.